record this so that we can put it on our website later. But just a couple overviews of Zoom. In your left-hand corner, when you hover over it, there's a mute button. Right now, everyone but Canarubla and I are muted, so there's no background noise. When you're not talking, I just encourage you to mute yourself. When we do group singing, we can maybe try all of that. But I have the power of muting everyone again. I'm just sharing my screen to do some text study with all of you. There's a video as well.
I'll share mine when I have my thing, by the way.
Awesome. But we're really happy that we can just really mark this moment together. And if we can all just take a deep breath in. One more, that felt good. Something that I've been saying a lot is that one of my favorite movies is Groundhog's Day. I don't know if you've ever seen it with Bill Murray, but it's the same day repeats after.
I got you, babe.
Yeah.
I got you, babe.
Repeat, and by the end, he kind of masters the day. And so each day I'm learning something new about myself, about my family, mastering that as well. And so today we're going to really focus on the prayer Mishabera, study where the first prayer of healing came from, and then talk a little bit about who we're praying for at this moment. So Canarubla, can we start with a song?
Yeah, so let me see. Am I not finding what I'm looking for? Hold on. Sorry. Shoot.
Do you want me to do
Here we
mine?
go. I think I'm getting there here. Can you see?
Yep, we're great.
Great. All right. So I thought we could start off with a little SI. This is Psalm 121, and one of the major sources of prayers for comfort and strength that really come from our Psalms. And what I find really compelling about the Psalms is to really get a sense of a connectedness to those who, our ancestors, those who came before that have had some of the similar struggles, the similar loneliness, the similar fear, the similar anxiety that we've had. And obviously in their time, the situations may have been different, but their yearning and their emotional language is really very much the same as ours. And so we can kind of learn this together. This is a melody by Dan Nichols, so it's not the SI&I that you might be used to, but here's how it goes. SI&I, El Hari, SI&I, El Hari, Me'ayin Yavo, Yavo Ezri, Me'ayin Yavo, Yavo Ezri, Me'ayin Yavo, Yavo Ezri, Me'ayin Yavo, Yavo Ezri. If you want to try and sing along, I can see your mouth moving, so I know you're doing it. SI&I, El Hari, SI&I, El Hari, Me'ayin Yavo, Yavo Ezri, Me'ayin Yavo, Yavo Ezri, Me'ayin Yavo, Yavo Ezri, Me'ayin Yavo, Yavo Ezri. Let's do the next part. Here's how it goes. Where will my help come from? Where will my and earth. My help will come from God, maker of heaven and earth. My help will come from God, maker of heaven and earth. My help
will come from God, maker of heaven and earth.
Esainai, El Harim, Esainai, El Harim, Me'ayin Yavo Esri, Me'ayin Yavo Esri, Me'ayin Yavo Esri, Me'ayin Yavo Esri. Where will my help come from? Where will my help come from? Sing together. My help will come from God, maker of heaven and earth. My help will come from God, maker of heaven and earth. My help will come from God, maker of heaven and earth. My help will come from God, maker of heaven and earth.
Thank you, Canon Rubel, for just marking that moment for all of us to really gather. And I think for me, it's one of the first moments that I've had today where I can just take a deep breath and be at peace. And so what we're going to focus on this evening is the prayer Misha Berach. Where does that come from? And the origins of it. And so we're going to try to do it interactive. Zoom is fun in different ways. You can study text, share here. But in the chat box, if you want to just write, when I say Misha Berach, like what's the first word that comes to your mind? So I'm going to give a moment for people to look at that for them right now.
I'll type it in the chat for you.
Oh, great, perfect. So you can see in the chat box if you have it there. What's the first word that you think about when I say Misha Berach?
So a couple of people have said healing.
I know if you're on the phone, it's challenging, so I understand that as well. But we'll get you off the phone in a second too. On the iPad, it's a little bit of a challenge as well.
We may have to do like a raise your hand if you have.
Yeah, we can do that too. So healing is a really good answer. And I think that's what we know it as, the Misha Berach. But there's a Misha Berach for healing, but there's a Misha Berach for being called to the Torah. There's a Misha Berach for those who have gone on a journey. And so while we have this connotation of the Misha Berach is a prayer for healing, it actually is all about one who blesses a congregation. And studies, we have tried to figure out where the first Misha Berach comes from. And it stems from the Babylonian Talmud, where we learned about that the Misha Berach was actually for a part of a congregation, and it was a Misha Berach that says, all who come to the congregation, who have prayed, and who also give tzedakah. So when we use Misha Berach as a term for healing now, but actually it's to bless people. It's a blessing of hope. It's a blessing of asking something. But the first one was just to bless a congregation. Bless the congregation and bless the people that give tzedakah as well, not only to the congregation, perhaps other places as well. So I find it fitting today that we get to study Misha Barach because I am blessed by this congregation. And I have gotten many nice emails and many nice conversations about becoming the next senior rabbi. So I'm honored to be here studying this with you. But we also know that we're at a time when it's really difficult and there are people that are struggling, our friends, our neighbors, people in our own communities and around the world. So I want to focus our first study on the prayer of healing. And I'm going to share a screen with you. 1 second. Hope did you get it? Does everyone see that?
It's just not the right screen. It's a Zoom. It's the Zoom window. It's not the right window.
All right. We're navigating this. Sorry about that. Let's see if it's this one. And here, there you go. Everyone see that? Great. So Marilyn, I'm going to unmute you. And can you read? This is the first prayer of healing. Can you read for us?
Yes.
Great.
Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Cushite woman he had married. He married a Cushite woman, they said. Has the Lord spoken only through Moses? Has he not spoken through us as well? The Lord heard it. Now Moses was a very humble man, more so than any other man on earth. Suddenly, the Lord called to Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, "Come out, you three, to the tent of meeting." So the three of them went out. The Lord came down in a pillar of cloud, stopped at the entrance of the tent, and called out, "Aaron and Miriam." The two of them came forward, and he said, "Hear these my words. When a prophet of the Lord arises among you, I make myself known to him in a vision. I speak with him in a dream. Not so with my servant Moses. He is trusted throughout my household. With him I speak mouth to mouth, plainly and not in riddles, and he beholds the likeness of the Lord. How then did you not shrink from speaking against my servant Moses?" Still incensed with them, the Lord departed. As the cloud withdrew from the tent, there was Miriam stricken with snow-white scales. When Aaron turned toward Miriam, he saw that she was stricken with scales. And Aaron said to Moses, "Oh, my Lord, account not to us the sin which we committed in our folly. Let her not be as one dead who emerges from his mother's womb with half his flesh eaten away." So Moses cried out to the Lord, saying, "Oh God, pray, heal her."
Thank you. Thank you, Marilyn.
You're welcome.
So this is the first instance of a prayer for healing. And so does someone want to unmute themselves, and what's striking about this text to you? Or Moses's cry? What stands out to you about it? You can raise your hand, or you can type in the top box as well. I can unmute you. Oh.
Well, I think it's sort of, you hear of Lashon Hara, of telling gossip and stories, and basically it was Miriam and Aaron telling Lashon Hara stories against Moses and his wife.
Yeah, Moses married Cushite, right? And they're saying, "Oh, he's married this woman," right?
Yes, and God is saying, you don't do those kind of things. That's wrong to do. And I have blessed Moses, and therefore you should, bless him too, and
Right.
You should not talk ill of him.
Right. So, and then what happens to Miriam?
She gets leprosy, or whatever we want to call it. She gets
Yes.
some skin disease.
Skin disease, right?
and she's being punished. I don't know. Aaron doesn't seem to get punished.
Yeah. So what's up? Right. So that's a
Also,
whole different story. That's a whole different story. And Moses though, what's the words that Moses uses?
he cried out to the Lord, saying, "Oh God, pray heal her."
Great. So this is the first healing prayer. It's El Na Rafana La. Right? And so what's striking about that prayer? You can unmute yourself if you want. It's the lower left-hand corner if someone wants to share.
Aren't there for the women of the Torah are mentioned? Right?
All right. So it's a prayer for a woman, which is interesting, right? We haven't not always do we hear prayers for a biblical matriarch or a hero. And so it's a prayer specifically for a woman, which is interesting. Anything else? Any questions that you might have about it?
Is this the first time that this arose to ask for a prayer of healing?
This is the first time, exactly. Yes.
Okay.
And right, if you were Moses, right, you know Moses very well. We've learned a lot about Moses. What do we know about? What do we know about him as a person, as a leader?
He's a reluctant leader.
He's a reluctant leader, right? Exactly. So he's not always he doesn't always do what is asked, or he hems and haws a little bit. What else do we know?
He has showed his anger. He certainly has showed his emotional character.
Exactly. Right. And what do we remember about him and Aaron? Why is Aaron always following him?
His brother.
Yeah, but why? Yeah, why is that though? Why? Carol? Okay.
Right.
Carol, sir. We can't hear you, Carol.
Okay. Well, it said that Moses had trouble speaking.
Oh, right.
And then Aaron is basically his mouthpiece. So Aaron, often speaks to speaks for him or helps him to speak.
Exactly. Right. So it's Aaron helps him speak. And so any other thoughts about why this prayer is what sticks out to you about this prayer? For me, right, it's not saying, it says just say, "Oh God, pray heal her." That's it. Right? We know Moses sometimes rambles. We know Moses sometimes goes on. It's not right. If I was thinking, if the first healing prayer in the Torah, it's going to be a lengthy prayer, right? It's going to be something that is long. It's going to be repetitive because that's what we've seen in the Torah. It's not just going to be 4 words, right? That's all. Oh God, pray heal her. So is God praying to heal her? How does that work? Or is Moses praying to heal her? How do you read that if the comma wasn't there? Someone else can unmute themselves too if they want.
You can't move it. It's on his screen.
I didn't take it as meaning pray.
Okay, what did you take it as?
I took it as meaning please.
So, oh God, please heal her. So nah, right? So Marlene's going into I know her Hebrew background a little bit.
Yeah.
So sometimes nah means please. So, oh God, please heal her, right? So we in biblical Hebrew we say the nah means please. So maybe Moses is saying please heal her. It's a please. It's a plea. Or it's my sister, right? It's my sister. I need her, right? It's where while she might have said not the nicest things about me, I still forgive her. Please help her heal her. Nice. Any other takes on it? So a lot of people study this, and a lot of people have commentary on it. So we have this commentary on it, and I'm going to see Susan Scar. Do you think you can read that?
Here.
Just unmuted you.
Right there?
Yep, perfect.
Okay. Our rabbis taught us there are 3 things which are bad if used in great quantities: If used in small quantities, however, they're very good. These are leaven, salt, and resistance. Our rabbis taught. Once a disciple descended before the ark in the presence of our Eliezer and prolonged his prayer. See, said the other disciples to our Eliezer, how long he prays. Well, said the rabbi to them, is he praying longer than our teacher Moses is written? The 40 days and the 40 nights that I fell down. Again, it happened that another disciple descended before the ark in the presence of our Eliezer and made his prayer short. The other disciple said to our Eliezer, see how brief he is. Then he then briefer than Moses, our teacher, replied, our Eliezer, as written, O God, do thou heal her.
Beseech her. Yeah, beseech thee.
I
So
beseech
thank you,
thee.
Susan.
I
So what are they trying to figure out here? What are they trying to comprehend about El Na Rafan Allah?
I think it's that, is it not the length of the prayer, but the feeling behind it that is what is important.
Nice. So it's not the length of the prayer, it's the feeling behind it. It's that plea, right? We have many long prayers, right? But we don't always need a lengthy prayer, right? We can just say, what was Moses' desire at this moment, right? It was, please heal her, right? There's a power to those 4 words, right? This idea is sometimes we don't always have the words to say, but I have the meaning behind it, right? I know what I need. This is what I desire. This is what I need. And I can just say it in these 3 words. It's the meaning and the power behind that. Other thoughts about what we've just read? Sharon? Yeah. I got you.
Thank you. No, I think it's just that sometimes being brief is good. We don't need to just it comes from the heart, you're done.
Yeah, sometimes, right? You don't need a long sermon. Sometimes you just need, right? Sometimes you just need a moment for people to get to the point, right? Sometimes we don't always get to the point of things that we want. And so Moses just wanted this. Moses just wanted Miriam to be healed. And I think there is a power in that as well. And so I think there's a really, and so Audrey Fish just wrote in the text box with our devotion, right? This is something, it's a really powerful thing as well. I didn't see the other chat things as well, but Samara Schwartz wrote that there are repeated sounds, El, Na, Rafa, Na, La, right? These are the repeated sounds of our prayers. And so there's a power to that rhythm in that sense. Audrey says, we don't need to outdo ourselves. We don't need to say, oh, that person's really praying really loudly. I know sometimes, actually, like people look around like, oh, how long do I have to stand up for the Amidah, right? I don't know if you've ever done that at our services when I say, okay, we're now going to pray silently to page 180, right? Do you want to be the last one standing? Do you want to be the first one sitting? Like, is there a challenge in the brevity in that? I think
everybody looks around, does like the sneaky, like who's or they wait for us to sit and then.
Right, but actually maybe that's the shortness of the prayer. There's power in that as well. So we're gonna read a little bit more. Someone, let's see who I'm gonna call on someone else. Jerry, I can't unmute you, so. Karen Budnick, I am muted you. Can you read number 3?
Sure.
Great, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, great, thank you.
Okay. Our Jacob said in the name of our Hizdah, whoever prays for his friend need not mention the friend's name as it is said. Oh God, pray heal her. And he did not mention Miriam's name.
Thank you, Karen. So this idea, right? So, right, Al Narafan Allah, right? It doesn't say Miriam needs to be healed. right? Oh God, please heal Miriam. It's her instead. And so here we're discussing, do you have to say someone's name in order for them to be healed, in order for God to hear those words? And so why do you think Rabbi Jacob Yaakov says in the name of Rabbi Chisda that you don't? Why don't you need to have someone's name in your prayers?
It offers the opportunity for other people to impart a healing prayer without knowing that person, but wanting to help that person.
Okay, so right, so it could be just a healing prayer for a universal healing prayer we want her to heal her in that sense. Yes, good.
I think that they feel that God knows what's in your heart.
Okay, so God knows what's in your heart, so you know who's praying for it, right? There's Ed Lerner wrote, there's an immediacy in it. And then Audrey Fish wrote, it's also inclusive as well, right? So this idea that like it could be for anyone.
Yeah.
So I guess,
Present?
Yeah.
So one thing I was thinking is, Miriam is one of the most important leaders of the community, right? Everybody knows who she is. She has this reputation, but yet when she needs healing, her status doesn't matter. That she can go nameless because when we need healing, we are all equal.
Nice. We're all equal, right? I think that's a beautiful teaching, Ken Rebel, like that. We need healing at different times, but we're all like, sometimes it's her, sometimes it's him, sometimes it's they, right? Depending on who it is. And so perhaps our inclusivity of our prayers God can hear and say, this is something that I really need.
Jerry in the chat says but yet we are encouraged to say names aloud.
Yeah, so Jerry, that's a good, and then Janice says, feel as though God knows everyone when we say it, right? So that's like God understands what we're praying for, who needs the healing. But Jerry's right, like we do say, I ask for names, or someone else asks for names when we are doing healing. So why is that, right? If the first healing prayer was not like, go around, my eyes meet yours, please share my name, or here's the list of the Misha Berach, why have we interpreted that to say people's names out loud if the first one, the healing prayer, was not saying Miriam? Sharon, yes.
Well, because when you're saying it in a community, you want others in the community to know so that they can also pray for that person.
Nice, right. So it's not, so I know, I'm sure sometimes you've heard the Misha Berach list at our synagogue and you're like, oh, why is that person on the list? And maybe you've asked their friend or called them up and, or it reminds you that like, oh yeah, I haven't contacted that person recently and I would like to be in touch with them. And so maybe that's one way, that's why we say the names out loud. Any other reasons? Marlene?
Yeah, maybe partly because it helps us focus so that, we, up to that point, we're thinking in general terms, but by needing to say a name, it helps us think who really needs this,
Right, yeah. I think there's an idea of like really helping us like with this intention, like, right, there's a lot of people that need healing now, but I'm really focused on this person. And I really want you to, I want to send all my healing, or I really want to figure out how I can be of help in this moment as well. Janice says sometimes it's like really just also feeling good to share, right? And say that person's name and that person, I'm struggling, right? I need help. Please, can you help me in that moment as well? Any other reasons why we might say names out loud?
I find it interesting that we say it out loud, within our temple community. I don't know if I would say the name out loud in a community of people I don't know. I'm not sure, but I think it has much more meaning in a community that is more like it's another family. So it's extending that understanding that our family is larger than who is immediately connected to us.
Nice, right? So it's, if we think of Temple Emanu-El like as a family, right? And you're comfortable saying here, right? And because people can support you in those moments, and you're more comfortable. And you know what someone's going through, right? Not all healing is for physical healing. Right? Sometimes it's an emotional or a spiritual healing that some people know that you're going through, or a loved one's going through. And that's always something that you might feel more comfortable saying when you're in our own synagogue, our own sanctuary. Great. Thank you. So now we're going to go to the next one. We're on number 4, right? Yep. So Rashi on this. Let's see, who haven't I called on? How about the Basses?
Go ahead, read.
Okay.
Oh, wait, not that. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
You went too far. There you go.
There you go, yeah.
Hear her now, O God, I beseech thee. Scripture intends to teach you by this form of prayer the correct altitude in social life, that if one is asking a favor of his fellow man, he should first say 2 or 3 words of supplication and then solicit the favor.
What's that mean?
Acknowledging your humbleness first.
All right. So acknowledge your humbleness first. So you can't just go up to someone and say, yo, this is what I need, right? This is what I need. I need toilet paper. Give it to me, toilet paper. Right? You could say instead, oh, here, Ashley, come here. This is such a nice store, or you're managing it so well. I need help in that sense, right? So a little bit of that. So Audrey Fish asked, who is the fellow man that Moses is beseeching? So that's an interesting take on it, right? So anyone want to answer, Audrey, before I try?
Who's the man?
Who's the man?
Oh,
Aaron?
Yeah, so I think, Audrey, I think what Rashi is saying, this is a, while there's no man here, right? God is the one that's is the fellow man in this moment. I think it's actually more sometimes that we have to, so Rashi might say that God is the man, right? Or God is the one that needs to be sometimes told how wonderful God is, right? And or just asking for forgiveness. But I also think on a practical level, Rashi is saying that sometimes how we interact with people needs to be different than just the demands. And so that's how I read Rashi too. Anyone else read Rashi differently?
Just to say that, can you hear me?
Yep.
That our divine relationship, right? So he's sort of using that model of the relationship that we have with God should be a model for our relationship with others.
Nice, right. And we don't want to place demands on other people, and like we don't place demands on God in that sense. So we ask God first for finding favor in us, and then we ask. And then a last reading, and let's see.
Ed, do you want to read? Okay.
Great. How about Jerry Yoselovich? I just unmuted you. Can you read?
Hi.
Barnblatt?
What would you like me to read?
The last. I'm trying to get there. Sorry. The last page. The last one. 5.
5, starting with Rabbi Rachel.
Yep. Thank you.
Yes. When his sister Miriam is stricken with
that's leprosy, right? Yep.
Oh, nice. Moses prays a short but effective one-line healing prayer. Elna Refa Nala. Please, God, heal her. This prayer has 11 letters. What can we learn from this? That it is meant to point us toward the 11-letter name of God. The name God gives to Moses at the burning bush. Eyeh asher eyeh. I will be who I will be. When we use this short prayer to pray for healing, we implicitly call upon God who is ever changing. We call upon the God who is continually becoming to heal and strengthen our loved one who needs transformation and change.
So I think Rabbi Barnblatt, for me, really,
Stretch.
someone wrote it's a stretch. So that's why all these texts can be interpreted differently. I think a lot of studying Torah is a stretch sometimes. Through gematria, through finding the words of the letters on the page. There is an idea is, right, when we pray for healing, we pray for change of something, right? Maybe it's a healing of mind, maybe it's a physical healing. It's just a healing of providing comfort for those who are affected by an illness. And so I do find, while not everyone might agree, I find some power in the way that Rabbi Baron Black kind of shares with us that, like, oh, how do we relate it to God, right? And the guy, I will be who I will be, and I need transformation. I'm strengthened by the loved ones who need me to be healed. And so there's a beautiful melody that I think Canna Rubel is going to sing for us.
Yeah. So I was just going to say the idea that healing is a process, right? It's not a light switch on and a light switch off, right? When those of us who have faced illness know that every day might be a little change, a little status. Sometimes we improve and then sometimes we have a setback, but that we're always on this journey towards healing, and that it's actually a whole process that takes time. So we're gonna hear a little of Debbie Friedman's rendition of El Na Rafa Nala. Some of you may know it, and I apologize if the sound quality is not as good, but I had to switch over to my phone.
Better with the quality, yeah.
And so if we can just all mute for a moment. Again, you're welcome to sing along, but I think it makes it easier if we can, so there's less background noise and echo and things like that.
And just one last thing. Oops, I muted you. Sorry. While we talked about, we don't always have to say the people who we're thinking of, but if you do want to share who you are thinking of as we pray this prayer, I invite you to say it in your hearts, say it out loud, to write it in the chat box as we
write it in the chat.
Yeah, only if you want, because we don't.
If you want, and maybe totally.
It could be anyone, and
doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be a specific name. It could be just where your heart is right now in terms of where you're pointing prayers of healing. Moses cried, heal Miriam, this I pray. And Moses cried, heal Miriam, this I pray. El Narafa Nala, El Narafa Nala, El Narafa Nala, El Narafa Nala. And Moses cried, heal Miriam, this I pray. And Moses cried, heal Miriam, this I pray. El Narafa Nala, El Narafa Nala, El Narafa
And Moses cried, Heal Miriam, this I pray. And Moses cried, Heal Miriam, this I pray.
Thank you. And so as we end, I wanted to also share a blessing, a liturgy for this moment. I shared this at Shabbat a couple weeks ago, but it's a prayer for medical scientists as well as those who are facing challenges right now because of COVID-19. God of wisdom, bless medical scientists and researchers around the world with insight and skill, dedication and fortitude as they combat coronavirus, so that their work yields knowledge and understanding, speedily finding a vaccine, treatments, and deterrents to its spread. Source of life, grant public health and government officials the strength to act swiftly and decisively, with compassion and understanding, in service to humankind, fighting this outbreak, and the other diseases that still plague the planet. Diseases threatening the lives of our brothers and sisters, nations and communities, young and old, rock of ages. Bring an end to disease and suffering, so that all may know your compassion and your grace. Baruch atah Adonai, rofei chol basar, u'machlif la'asot. Praised are you, God, healer of flesh, maker of wonders. And let us say,
Amen.
Amen.
and so something that we've been doing on each of our calls that we've had with our students as well as other students at night is kind of saying a blessing of the Shema, bedtime Shema. And so we will, Ken Rubo will join us now.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam, Leolam. Laila Tov, everybody.
So thank you for joining us, and I hope that you find comfort and strength during these days. We'll have many opportunities to connect over the next couple of weeks. Shabbat tomorrow, Havdalah on Saturday, and maybe some more cocktails and after dinner drinks with us as well. So, Laila Tov, good night.
Good night. Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good night.